Modeling School. Welcome into the Fanboy Modeling School. I am the Fat Mantis, now in HD, and I'm here with the master of ruckus himself,
Steve. Real name, no gimmicks. What's going on, brother?
I'm living that dream. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Fanboy Modeling School, hosted by RizRadio.com, Riz Radio Live 365, your home for independent radio. And the last two voices of reason, my boy Mantis and I over here, man. We got some battle scars ever since the election of President-elect Donald Trump, huh?
It's horrible. Basically, what it is that it's so funny. We enjoy our freedoms, our like American God-given rights, and apparently other people don't. And what's funny is we got famous and we got well known for being into our freedoms.
Right.
We're practically a libertarian podcast, and I hate to break it to you. Right? And so people who have known us forever, and I mean literally forever, are suddenly like, "Oh, you supported this person," and I'm like, "Get a life, get a life."
Oh man,
Which is really what I don't want to say. I really want to say, "I love you, get a life."
You know what? Right? What up, Shaolin Iceboxer, man? I agree with that. I could not have said it more eloquently and with more humility than that, man. It's strange. It's a strange world out here, man. It's a strange world of checks and balances, man. You got people just coming for each other's necks left and right over political pundits. And that's not to say I don't get that, but I would like to point something out, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Trump lost in 2020, you took the loss as well as I think you could have, right? You definitely were talking about the stop the steal portion of it, right? And those things, but I don't remember you doing anything drastic, ending any relationships or anything like that. Is that correct in that assumption?
Yes, and actually, you better believe people I know rubbed it in my face.
I'm sure.
Like everywhere I went, it was epic,
bro.
And you know what it is, and it's like who was saying it the other day? It's somebody, a basketball player, was saying. He said, "We lost, so now we need to shut the bleep up."
Right,
and he's like, "It's the winner who gets to say whatever he wants, but us losers need to shut up." And so that's what it is. And I took it like a man. My side loses, you get to gloat and make fun of me, and I do. And then now that it's the other way around, I'm not gloating, and yet somehow I get to hear the losers bark at me all day long.
Well, I mean, the crazy thing about that is, man, I remember when Trump lost, right? And I had to sit through Katy Perry, I believe it was Katy Perry's inaugurationals when she was singing at the White House, and they're shooting up fireworks. They had just vanquished Sauron himself. The orcs were falling into the ground, is how this was being presented. And all I did was say in my head a very low silent prayer: God, I'm praying for Joe Biden. I'm praying that Joe Biden leads this country wisely and correctly.
Yes.
And I pray that you intervene on our behalf if he doesn't.
And right. I definitely was like that. I was definitely praying. I was definitely like, I wished him luck. Obviously you don't want to wish bad luck to the guy who's driving your plane or flying your plane, right?
No, you don't want the demise of this person. No.
I want to say something real quick. I want to say something that's interesting. So here's what it is. I would eventually join the Stop the Steal movement, but I will tell you, as late as January 6th, I was not part of it.
Mm.
And at the time, I was disgusted. I was super disgusted at January 6th because the media told me to be so. And it wasn't until later on that I saw some documentaries and I started looking at these things that people were making clear that I was like, oh, okay.
But listen, it's neither here nor there. What up, D? One of the things for me personally, right? I said the same exact prayer when Trump took power, is before he takes power this time. I'm like, God, I pray that he does your will, right? I pray that he leads this country wisely, and if he does not, intervene on our behalf. And this is the way you can handle these things when you have a faith that supersedes who's in power. Right. It doesn't mean that I don't have anxieties. He could turn out to be the thing that you guys are saying. But my response is still going to be, God, spare this world from your righteous, divine, ordained retribution.
At my church, this is technically part of an Episcopalian prayer, even though I go to a Presbyterian. But in the prayers of the people, usually this at Sunday worship, one of the things that's prayed for is it says, "Let us pray for Joe, our President Joe, the mayor of our town, Peter, and the governor of our state, Catherine, that they may be led to wise decisions."
First name basis.
Yeah, and so what it is, and you obviously, if it changes, you change the name of the person. But and they stopped doing it. They're not doing it anymore because in preparation for the T-Man, they refused to pray for him.
Oh,
just as my church refused to pray for him when he was attacked.
Oh, wow. So an interesting response from a Christian church. Interesting.
Here's what it is. I'm not trying to. I don't like going around calling people non-Christians, like who are.
Right.
Each has their own individual battle. But I will say, I do not like the state of modern Christianity, the way that people feel they can put their politics before it. Right? That they're like, well, I'm a Christian second, but I'm a liberal first.
Yeah, they that goes on both sides of the aisles, right? Yeah, I told you one of my favorite theologians, James White, came under some scrutiny because he had some dialogue with a Muslim imam, right? And he had the imam speak at a church, and some America First type-esque people were like, how dare you bring him in front of the saints to speak and stuff like that. Who he's like, well, this was not an official gathering of a congregation, right? This was a conversation and church members attended, and it was a conversational piece. Like, James White has no problem refuting Islam, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons. Like, the guy, just trust me, the type of courage it takes for him to do that. But I noticed that some of the America First Christians would they put a high emphasis on, if it wasn't for this country, you wouldn't be able to worship the way you do. And it's like, no, reverse that. If it wasn't for God, this country would not enjoy the benefits that it has.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So, and I'm going to be real with you. Here's another thing that I actually really do believe, and I'm sure a lot of people will be disgusted. I don't want us to be a theocracy. I don't believe that, but I actually do believe we should have Judeo-Christianity as our official religion. And not that we should stop people from worshiping. People have the right to worship whatsoever, but I don't think we should remove God or the 10 Commandments or any of that stuff from like schools or like any of that stuff. So that's just who I am.
You know, it's crazy. When the Muslims recaptured Jerusalem, they allowed the Christians, the Jews to worship during the post-Crusades time. Were you aware of that? Did you know that?
I wasn't. Actually, I've got so many questions. No, because it's weird. I'm a Sunday school teacher, and the kids. It's funny. I am teaching some high school students.
Right.
And when I was talking, and I touched on Revelations for just a second, and a bunch of them were like, "What? What is Revelations?" I'm like, "It's about the end of the world," and they didn't know it was in there. And I was like, "This liberal church has been hiding the truth from these kids." So I've been researching how to address it without offending these parents with these like sensibilities or whatever.
Right.
And so I've been learning a lot more of it. And anyway, that led to some questions about the Crusades. So I'm glad you're hitting that up.
Yeah, I mean, the deadliest thing to a liberal Christian is the Bible. It's
Oh, right, of course.
it's
I
like,
have an allergy, I hear.
but welcome to Fanboy Modeling School, your favorite
We
libertarian.
started off on some light topic.
So what's going on in fandom world, man? You got any honorable mentions for the onset of the show, man? Or how's your life going? Otherwise, you fighting villains out there in the street? What's going on, big guy?
Oh, man. I had an honorable mention. It was so stupid it would never have been a major story, but it was so good, and I lost it. I lost it to the Sons of Time,
to the ether.
Yeah, to the ether. Maybe it'll pop back in. But I will say this: I still have to see this new Dune show. But other than that, not a lot going on out there.
Right.
As usual, the only news I see is like James Gunn talking about stuff that may or may not happen, and I'm like, I'm sick of this guy talking. Just play a damn movie. Just play a goddamn movie, man.
Well, I think I know what your honorable mention was because, excuse me, it's my honorable mention, and it's in regards to the Silver Surfer and the Fantastic Four movie. So it has been officially confirmed that young Anglo lady is playing the Silver Surfer.
Right, the chick from Ozarks or whatever, that little thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're gonna have to kill me. The feminists love that line. They love that.
I love her as an actress, and don't get me wrong, I do love her.
Great, but she's officially coming in as the Silver Surfer, and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to understand it, but I seem to be in short supply of understanding the point of view of others right now. So I'll let you take the reins on this one, big guy.
So I heard the other day that a lot of movie execs, they either hire people or they actively tell people on studio, don't go on social media, don't pay attention to social media. And that's why they make these horrible mistakes. And here's what I'm saying. All they need is one bad move, and people will turn on people are waiting. They want an excuse to turn on a Marvel property. Isn't it obvious?
It is.
And so this is such a stupid mistake. Another mistake I'm seeing, and another thing, and this is a leaker. This is my time to shine, right? You know, who I'm not even sure if they're a leaker. They just say things and hope it comes true. They claim that Marvel is looking at the chick who's going to be in the Snow White movie. You know, the one, Rachel Zegler, the one everyone hates. And I'm like, what are they doing? Please get it together, bro. Just read a tweet. Read any tweet, bro, and you're gonna find the world hating on her. Somehow the conversation will somehow go to Rachel Zegler and about how much they hate her and despise her. What is wrong with you, Kevin Feige?
Oh, real quick, I just got to address the elephant in the room. Yes, if you're wondering, is Steve's face swollen? It is. I did a thing. The thing didn't go as well as I wanted it to, but that stays between me and Mantis and those I've shared.
You tried to rob an old woman at a liquor store on her way out.
I tried to fight Rachel Zegler.
Like I said, an old woman.
But so this is the thing, right? I've tried to explain this to you before, and the reason you don't accept it is because you're a wildly intelligent guy. But allow me to stupefy you, as the old Disturbed song was.
Stupefied.
These people, when they make these decisions, think that they are on the right side of history. Everyone lives in fear of being another large corporation that made videos like how to sell to the young Negro. And no one wants to go back to those times so badly, and nor do I, right? I do not look at the yesteryear of America and go, man, can't wait to get me some of that. No. I think we need to move forward. But they don't want to be on the wrong side of history. So I believe that when they do stuff like this and they tell them to ignore tweets, they're like, listen, they probably say this too. They're like, do you think Martin Luther King would read tweets if they had tweets? You don't read the tweets. Like,
it's true. Twitter would have told him not to march on Selma. So, that is interesting. Although you have to admit, you already know, right? You've already seen it. There are some things Marvels have already put out that I'm telling you are already on the wrong side of history. People are going to go back in 10 years, 10, 20 years, people will look back at Echo and they'll be like, what is this exploiting Native Americans for money grab thing? Nonsense.
Right. No, because Native Americans were supposedly in charge of it, so they can't get mad about it.
I mean, see, so here's what it is. Obviously, they're not in charge of it, but that's what it is. This is what they do. The corporation hires a face for the project. They're like, have a black dude direct. So if anything goes wrong, we can blame their own community.
We can blame Blackie.
But the truth is, every other thing that goes wrong is no offense, a white person. So like in the future, when people hate on Wakanda forever,
right,
they need to look past the director and look at everything else about it.
Oh man, there was a lot of hate for Wakanda Forever, man, on so many different levels. The pro-black community did not like that Wakanda kept getting sunned up by the Tunkins. What were they called? What was Namor's people group?
Well, they're supposed to be Atlanteans. I don't know. I forget what they called them. And they've changed their name.
No, don't make me say what you're all thinking. They were getting beat up by brown people. And a lot of pro-black people.
Oh, and also, here's what I'm saying. Do you don't think that's white messaging right there?
Oh, absolutely is.
They're like all the blacks and those barrio people do is fight amongst themselves. Let's make a movie about it.
Even when you give them the greatest resource, vibranium, aka money.
right. And
each other.
Yeah, they might as well have had the Wakandians drinking 40s on that ship of theirs.
Bro, that was the worst plan I've ever seen any kingdom have. They're like, all right, so we got our ass kicked by some water-faring people. What we're going to do is we're going to take our largest watercraft
and go out there.
Water.
The enemy can come at any side. They can fly out and attack us at any side because they have complete control of this element. It was total. It was ridiculous.
Some people might say that's what happens when you allow a young woman to lead your war machine.
That's what I would say. A woman leader. That's ridiculous.
And how does this tie into what Mantis said before? Because there are literally people who are sitting around waiting to be outraged by every misstep that Marvel makes, and they just cannot stop doing it. There is no apparent reason to gender swap the Silver Surfer. Why? Because he's not Wonder Man, right? He's the Silver Surfer.
I know, and I agree with that. And as we all know, our favorite YouTuber isn't complaining about Wonder Man, but she praises the Silver Surfer thing because she's like, there are no fans of the Silver Surfer. Show me a fan of the Silver Surfer. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I think he's up there as one of the top 5 beloved franchises within that mega franchise.
I just want to Google something. Go ahead, cook. Go ahead and cook.
I'm saying he has always had a book that has sold well. And he's always been there. You know what I'm saying? And so many famous artists and famous writers have tackled his book. There is no, like, for instance, he is more beloved, certainly more than, let's say, the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? As a matter of fact, he is more beloved than the Avengers. That is absolute true. If you went down to the biggest ballers of, titles that were the ballers of Marvel, right? It was definitely X-Men. It was definitely Silver Surfer. It was definitely Spider-Man. Right. And so it's certainly up there. It certainly beats the Avengers. And I'll say the Avengers are on that list of 5, but they're lower than the Silver Surfer.
So I'm just looking at his. I was trying to see if I could find his comics run, man, and the best I could find was the original run, which wasn't very long. It was 68 to 69, but obviously he had a longer run during the 90s and all that stuff.
But, right, because I remember I was there for it. That was Infinity Gauntlet time. I remember how hard it was to get Silver Surfer 50, and it had the foil cover.
Right,
you remember that?
Oh, yeah. That was I didn't like it, but I didn't like the content of the comic. But I remember that was a hard.
I remember it was a lot of flashbacks before he had powers, where he's hanging out on his planet and being limp-wristed.
I don't understand this, but I'll tell you what I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna excommunicado anyone that enjoys a female Silver I won't be deleting any friends over it.
Over it, right? Because we could easily get angry and be like, your love of this female Silver Surfer is taking the rights away from our male Silver Surfer. His right to exist in the Marvel universe.
Right,
Gray says, "Happy International Men's Day. You get a free pass on your rampant misogyny today." Only. Thank you for that, Gray. Thank you.
Is it International Men's Day? I thought that was the totality of history.
Izzy says, "I got a Silver Surfer Marvel card from 1998."
That's a good grab. Good grab, man. Yeah, this listen, okay, first let me not act like this is a huge monumental deal, right? Because I'm not really sold heavily on this new Fantastic Four movie, but as you know, I'm going to go see it. One of us has to go see the movie so we can tell the other one about it, right? I'm gonna go see it. I want to see how this ties in. I don't really know what they're gonna do here with Laura Rod or whatever they changed the name.
Yeah, whatever her crazy name is.
What
was it's like Shyla Ball or something?
I don't know. Some craziness.
Don't get me started, man. But Marvel is still here's what it is. They claim that they're out of their awkward days. They are still walking on a tightrope, and I'm not convinced Kevin Feige has kicked his coke problem. Like, I think he's high when he makes some of these decisions.
Holy shit! Like he's really stuck on the yayo. He's sitting in the back room, like.
I'm telling you, he's snorting and he's talking to someone in the bathroom. He's like, "Yo, I was just thinking, what if we meet Silver Surfer for a girl?" I'm like, "Yeah,
be another intern." No, Kevin, you've had 4. Bring them all. Oh man.
It seems like that's because if they end up doing Rachel Zegler for any character, that's going to be horrible. I know they're talking to what's her face, but Jenna Ortega, but everyone loves Jenna Ortega. I got no problem with that.
Wait, my brain just blew for a second here, man. Give me 1 second. I gotta bring something to your attention. Rachel Zegler became infamous and or famous for saying, "That's weird. That's weird. Isn't it just weird? Weird talking about the the Snow White story." What was Kamala Harris's vice president pick's name again? Tim
Walz.
Here I gave him credit on one episode for coming up with a perfect response to the Trump Vance ticket. I was like, this guy really grabbed the narrative, and now the entire mainstream media, or just media in general, was reporting on. And it was just him going, "Isn't it just weird?" But now I see that he stole that from her. So we got to give her flowers, man. He didn't come up with that. It was Zegler.
Oh, it was Zegler. Okay. I will give props where props are due. Zegler point. Weird. But those are the only props I'll give her. You actually, I'm not gonna lie. When I watched the trailer for Snow White,
right,
she does have a beautiful voice. If they did not modify her voice, she has a stunning voice. That's beautiful.
Listen, she's a interesting young lady, man, and I'm sure that here's what I think actually happened, man, with this whole scenario. Again, well-intentioned, saying, "Hey, we're going to tell a story of Snow White that we think is going to be more appealing to the modern woman." Had you said that, you would have had some people angry, right? But you would not have had the response that you've gotten. And not that every part of the response she got was deserved. Some of you guys on the internet, man, some of y'all fools, you really are incels. You know what I'm saying?
So here's my major problem, the problem that I have with it. And it's more about Disney than it is her.
Okay.
Right? So Snow White was actually his first big movie. All the others that he did were shorts, like Steamboat Willie, which was famous for starring Mickey Mouse. These were short movies. These weren't full feature length. Snow White was his first major big movie, and it's really ultimately, you could argue, it's what really made Disney the juggernaut that it is today. Like, it started on a good roll from that, and it went from there.
Okay.
It's the founder's movie. He animated it himself, obviously with the team and stuff like that.
Right.
How is Disney going to allow one of their peons, some chick of the moment actress, to insult his work, to insult their founder, and they don't do anything. And so if I was working for Disney and I saw what she said, I would have immediately disavowed her. I would have immediately either made her apologize or be fired. And because you should never go against your founder. And this is what is wrong with with everyone nowadays. Nobody has any respect or love for anything anymore. You don't respect your country or your land or your neighborhood or even the very company that is part of your livelihood.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying? If you claim to be part of the Disney cult, you need to defend Walt Disney and all the stupid shit. Because let me tell you, if you follow his life, he did a lot of stupid, idiotic things.
Yeah, Nazi sympathizing is definitely one of them.
right. And so I'm saying part of the job is defending the founder.
No.
Here's it. Explaining away. Like, for instance, I'd be like, Nazis? He was on a lot of drugs back
then. He was taking wellness shots back in the day.
Right, but you don't let some little punk ass girl make fun of his movie.
Here's the thing, man. It's not even. I don't even think she was just necessarily making fun of the Disney movie. Remember that Snow White is an old German tale.
Right, it's a fairy tale. Right.
Yeah, and it comes from Germanic times, a different way of thinking, even before the Third Reich. You know what I'm saying? And she was taking a shot at that. And I would have let that pass, right? If she would have just said, hey, this is a story, a modern telling. What's wrong with just say this is a modern telling? Once you start attacking people or can be perceived as attacking, then you open yourself up for responses. And that's the part that they never want to deal with. So as of today, the young lady who's playing female Silver Surfer has not attacked anyone. Rachel has attacked.
That's why I'm still planning on going, probably with you, opening day.
We got him, folks. We got him. Hey, man.
Here's what I'm saying. It's wokeness that the role has been gender bent, but you're right. That's the only crime so far. So that's like one out of many notches they could piss me off with. And if that's the worst, so be it.
They've desensitized me so much. It's like, as long as they're not peeing on my face, if it's on my shoe, then I can, just move over to the next stall. As long as it doesn't make it on my leg. Hey, man, I know we talked about friggin' Thunderbolts last week, and you were a little bit more amped up about seeing that. Now with the new release of the trailer, there is supposed to be some sneaky shots of actual Bob the Century floating around. I haven't found anything real.
There's stills?
Yeah, like stills and stuff like that. I haven't
stills
found
stills have misled me so many times. When people take pictures on set and they show you're like, this looks stupid, and later on when they add special effects, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't want to be misled like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I see stills, like, they're basically fan generated pictures of muscular Bob versus the Bob we got in the trailer. But I did want to talk to you about some rumor mill shit that has completely blown up as of today. So the reshoots for Falcon and the Winter Soldier have been plentiful, but test screening came out. People seem to enjoy the test screening. They said it was an enjoyable ride, enjoyable movie. There was a rumor going around that the director had gotten shit canned for all the reshoots. Turns out that's a big old fat lie, bro. He did not, in fact, get fired. There has not been an official statement from Marvel or Disney about his removal. It's a lie, Roy. It's a lie.
No. Well, so I didn't believe it because at least the first, I can't attest for the second ones, but the first reshoots was actually about Israel. It was a political thing about Israel. So what it was is that there's a female Black Widow in there. Who is the bodyguard to the American president, and she is actually in the comic book Sabra, the Israeli super soldier. And so at a certain point, she's supposed to hunt down Captain America, and she was fully dressed up in an Israeli flag costume going after him. And so after everything, all the drama that's been going on, the first reshoot was like, we need to get her out of this movie. And that's when they got Giancarlo Esposito came to play Sidewinder. He replaced her in that aspect.
Is that confirmed or?
It's. I mean, is anything ever confirmed? But it would seem to add up because Giancarlo Esposito was not a part of the original cast. He came in for the reshoots.
So here's the deal. I'm paying for your ticket. You paid. What did we go see last? We went to go see. What was the last movie we checked out together? That was. What did we freaking go see, bro? We saw
We
some.
see stuff all the time. What did we see? We saw. I remember. No, we went to Flash. We went to no. What did we? We just went to a Marvel, didn't we?
We went to a Marvel movie. What the hell was it? That's not good. We can't remember.
Fans out there. What did we see? What was good? We didn't see Venom together. What was the movie before Venom?
At any rate, I'm gonna pay for your ticket for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. All right, and I know.
Oh wait, hold on. You realize that we have to go either the late showing the day before it premieres or the day after it premieres. We cannot go on Valentine's Day.
Oh no, we're not going anywhere together on Valentine's Day.
I don't even text you on Valentine's Day.
I don't want to see your face. I'm trying to. I'm looking.
Deadpool. It was Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wolverine. There it is.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna go check out Falcon and Winter Soldier on Valentine's, and we're gonna sit right next to each other.
So actually, this happened. This happened at church. Actually, this is hysterical. Mr. Chris, he's the music guy for the summer camp. This summer, he loves these movies. You know, he's like 60, but he loves superhero movies. And he's like, "Yo, we should go check out another Marvel movie." I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah!" I was like, "I'll come down to the city," and I was like, "He's like, what's the next one?" I was like, Captain America 4," and he's like, "It's on Valentine's Day." I'm not going with you on Valentine's. I was like, I didn't know what how was it like. I was just talking.
Dang, you making Mr. Chris feel uncomfortable, huh? Oh, I do want to, because I just got a message from someone on Instagram. I do want to switch to one of our main topics, and it's a main topic that I didn't send you a link for because I didn't want it to be a cover photo.
Yo, what is up? Wait, hold on, real quick before you say anything. What is up with multiple people in the chat saying we're old men? Where did that come from?
Because we didn't know what movie the last movie went to see each other.
Okay, go on. So you want to talk about a topic?
All right. So this topic has been making its rounds all over the internet, and some people feel strongly about it. Some people are calling it the humiliation ritual of one of the greats. And it is, of course, the Denzel Washington scandal about the quote unquote, his words, gay kiss. No, actually not his words, but what's being referred to as the gay kiss that has been removed from Gladiator 2. And so Denzel, I would send you the video, but I know you hate Instagram videos. You hate the Instagrams and the TikTokers and all that stuff. Mantis only watches Facebook Reels. That's all he's messing with.
No, I don't like them for the show because they don't fit into on the screen well. You get it? I want a horizontal video. I don't need a vertical video. It screws everything up. Look, here's what I'm saying. There's you and me, and then there's the vertical video in the middle. It looks like a dick and balls. And that's all we need is more accusations that we're gay. Okay.
So back to gay. So apparently there was a scene that got cut from Gladiator 2 where Denzel kissed another male, and one of our contributors, this contributor knows who they are. If they don't mind telling the story, go ahead and throw a thumbs up in the chat. But one of them, like, I'll tell the story, but I won't name you unless you give me an okay. They sent me a video like they took down one of the greats, and I was like, "What's happening?" And all I saw was Denzel's face, and I watched the clip, and it's about him. He's like, "Yeah, there was a gay kiss," and of course, it's some woman egging him on, some young Gen Zer. Like, I heard there was a gay kiss in the film that got removed. And literally, we're talking about Romans. And I explained to this person, it's nothing to be terrified of. They all kissed each other back then, man. You know, we're talking about Mesopotamian, Latin culture. And
of course. There's no question that probably, it belongs anywhere. It belongs in Gladiator 2. Right? Like, to be honest, I'm actually surprised there isn't like a full-blown sex scene between a bunch of dudes in it.
Yo, you ever watched that? If you guys aren't up on it, man, there's a show called Spartacus, man, and it was one of the greatest shows ever released. But man, they went heavy on the man-on-man.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it. Thanks for that recommendation.
But yeah, so apparently the scene, Denzel said, is much ado about nothing. That's a direct quote. He said literally the scene that got cut was of him kissing someone's hands and then giving them a peck on the lips and then killing them. But the studio was like, no, we're not doing this to Denzel. We're not doing this to Denzel. And they removed it.
That's so weird because they'll do it to every other actor. Right, every other actor, they're like at an MCU shoot, and they're like, "Wouldn't it be great if Tom Holland Spider-Man just started making out with Falcon right now?" And they're like, "That would be so inclusive." They have people who are gaying out for no good reason in modern Hollywood.
Izzy says, "I'll kiss Denzel right now." That's right. That's right, man.
Here's what it is: I will do anything for Denzel.
Right.
But I won't do tongues or anything past. Maybe a peck.
But you'll give him a little peck?
I'll give him a peck. As you know, I don't know. As you know, my family is French Haitian, right? Haitian of origin of blood, raised in France. The whole side of my family. There's a lot of like kissing on the cheeks. Like you kiss everyone on the cheeks, even men. And there's a lot of times when you miss the cheek by accident and hit the lips. It's like your cousin, and you've just pecked on the both pecked on the mouth. It's the worst, man. So yeah, Denzel will give him a peck, but no tongues. No tongues.
Anyway, D says, I don't even know why he mentioned it. He mentioned it because that young reporter brought it up, and Denzel is. Now, this is going to blow your mind, right? He's one of these guys that's so secure in who he is and his sexuality. He's like, it doesn't mean anything to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm not smoking poles on the weekend. That's basically what Denzel's saying, man.
But also, you know what it is? I think that, like, you notice how he's talking about his future jobs that he's going to do and when he's going to retire, whatever. He's coming to the end of his career, and I think he's reflecting more on it all. Yeah. And so I can understand that he's more talkative about each movie now than you would normally be because it's coming to an end basically.
Yeah, he's in his Harrison Ford arc. Harrison Ford started saying a lot of way out shit, man. And none of it was like overly controversial. He's just like, I remember he tried to kick David Bain out of his house for a trick that was too spooky. He's like, get the out of my house, get out.
Izzy said Mantis is gonna give it up on the first date, but no tongue.
Mantis is a pretty woman. He's got to save something for marriage. But people were really upset about this, man. I'm talking about if you were over on Black X, formerly known as Black Twitter or Black Instagram. Yeah, man, the reels were coming up, man. They're trying to humiliate one of the greats and all this stuff.
So here's the thing. About early in his career, I think it's the movie The Pelican Grief, where he was like, I can't kiss. They wanted him to kiss Julia Roberts, and he was like, I cannot be seen kissing a white woman. Right. And they were like, why? He's like, because I have a lot of black female fans, and they will be disappointed by that.
Yes. So said it very eloquently. He was like, talk about black men sticking up for black women.
Yeah. Said that to to be honest, I don't know why I think that's so cool, but I think it's so cool that he thought to do that because most people are quick to sell out, right?
Yeah. See, now that is a perfect point you just made, my brother. Think about the movies where they didn't want the female lead to kiss the black male lead, right?
Right.
Where they're just like, America's not ready for this, blah, 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 that type of stuff. Denzel's star prowess was as such in the early days that he said, I'm not going to do this because it will hurt my core base. I also think it had something to do, not that he hasn't had sex scenes with, but he didn't want to disenfranchise his wife as well. You know what I'm saying? The woman he's been with for decades, and his fan base was primarily black women, man. They were on his Mo Better Blues even before that. Shout out to Denzel.
So I respect it. And so, like, for instance, Mahershala Ali, he doesn't kiss in his movies, anyone. And what's funny is I was like, wait a minute. In Moonlight, he's a gay dude. And so I watched it. I watched it again. And because it's through his phases of his life.
He's not a gay dude. He's a father, isn't he? He's not the gay dude in that movie. He's the dad.
I know. But so I'm watching it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. He didn't kiss. And I was like, I was wrong. I was completely wrong on this. Yeah. And so sure enough, but I do think it's respectful that he's like saying, he's like, I'm a Muslim. I have to respect women, and therefore I can't make out with them, and I can't alienate the woman I'm with. So
boom. And so in regards to Denzel, Beck says, I can see how Black Twitter would be in shambles over this, but I wouldn't have cared. Yeah, man. Honestly, try as you might, man. Controversy does not stick to Denzel. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I can't name a controversy. Can you? I know there was some grimaces on the set of Mo Better Blues with him and Wesley Snipes and stuff like that, man. But it's a trifecta. Back in the day, it was Denzel, Wesley Snipes, and Lawrence Fishburne. And I think it's clear that Denzel came out on top of that.
Oh, of course, absolutely. No, you're right. He has essentially made it out scandal free, right?
Yeah.
He's such a straight up guy. I love him. Like I said, I don't have a lot of heroes in this world. Denzel's certainly one of them.
Yeah.
But then again, I understand that we're all sinners in this world, and like if an illegitimate white baby comes out of the woodwork next week, I won't love it, but I will understand.
But in regards to the gay kiss, man, I want to put some context on it, man. It's ancient Rome. You know what I'm saying? And there's a cultural difference, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form condoning anything. But like I was telling our secret contributor, I was like, one, Denzel is a troll, right? So that's why he was talking about it. He wants to troll people because he's an old man, and that's what old men do. When we get to a certain
age, mount.
They start trolling.
Yeah, sometimes it's part of acting. You got to do what you're getting paid for, right? Yeah, I mean, I do. Here's what it is. I am going to say this. I do think to an extent, hear my words.
Right.
To an extent, gaying out, and I don't mean going all the way, but on camera is sometimes part of acting.
All right, I'm not going to argue with you there, but
I'm saying if your job is to take on different roles and be different characters, eventually you may have to make out with a dude.
Well, I mean, so it's funny you bring that up, man, because Denzel has been a mentor to Will Smith. And if you want a point of historic record, when Will Smith did 6 Degrees of Separation, he played a gay man who I believe was it HIV or was he just a gay hustler? I don't know.
He was just a gay hustler.
Just a gay hustler. Nothing to do with AIDS. Don't freaking cancel me, you fucking weirdos. Denzel spoke to Will about that part, and he was, I gave him some words of encouragement and advice. And I get where D's coming from. D has been in love with Denzel since she was a teenager, and just does not want to think.
I'm heartbroken. I don't want to hear about kissing men.
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't sound like it was a very involved kiss.
And here's the good news: it won't be on the screen.
Right. It's going to be on the deleted scenes on the DVD. Who buys DVDs anymore? But Steve, to finish your thought.
What?
Wasn't it that Will Smith was on 6 Degrees of Separation, right? And he didn't want to do.
Yeah, he didn't want to do the kiss. And Denzel said, well, this is, a part of this. This is a part of the game. This is a part of this film. So you got to make a decision. I don't want to misquote brother Denzel, but yeah. And then Will famously played the character. I don't know if there was like any man-on-man action.
What's funny about that is famously Will Smith would eventually marry Satan's daughter or twin sister, and she would lead him down a path of a lot of sexual impropriety, including gay stuff. Look at that.
Allegedly.
Oh, come on. Grow up. Stop being naive.
but actually, so I'm going to see Gladiator 2. The missus actually wants to go see it. She's a huge Gladiator fan. Hey, the other day, man, we sat down and put Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, the extended version on for the kids. Wound up just being myself and my wife, and my mom that watched it. But yeah, the kids, they were like, "What is this, Dad? Where did you find this?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is before the Avengers. This is the type of stuff we watch."
Yeah. You're like, it's from ancient history. They're like, where did you find it? You're like in a cave. In an abandoned cave. Nobody knows who made it or where it came from. Ellen says it's because Denzel is universally respected.
Yeah.
He says Denzel has been my crush since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
He says if the director sat here and told me I'm going to have to kiss Denzel. Rich Simmons started Diddy's career, says Coy.
Who is this new person? Coy.
Coy Kehoe. Welcome in, Coy. We are going to get into Diddy. We are absolutely going to get into Diddy.
We're not getting into Diddy. We're talking about Diddy.
Right. Whoa.
You're right, big guy.
Yeah, no, right. It's so wild. It was so wild.
Talk got you hot and bothered.
But were there any other thoughts on stuff going on in the entertainment world?
No, I got nothing left for entertainment, man. Where you want to go first?
Okay, so I'm gonna have to put on. I actually sent you this in Telegram of all things. I don't know. I don't think you acknowledged it, so maybe you didn't catch it. But I saw, and actually, I'm a hypocrite because this could be a vertical image.
Here we go. Stream's about to fall apart.
So this is is it Amalia or Amala?
I don't know.
She used to do videos for PragerU.
Oh, PragerU.
And now she went solo.
Mm-hmm.
Where did I send that?
So you don't know what PragerU is. PragerU is a platform that hosts a variety of different conservative and libertarian voices. Actually, where Candace Owens started off at after, it was the first big company to pick her up. And side note, one of the owners or the owner of PragerU penned a letter, not actual pen, in response to what he calls Candace Owens' anti-Semitic views. And he says, this is not the Candace I know. And it's actually a very well written, very thought out letter in response to the things she says. He's also not an Israel apologist, so he can be pragmatic in his approach. So I would suggest you all go check that out, man.
Yeah, one day we need to do a fanboy after dark, and we need to talk about the Book of Revelations, and we need to talk about what Christianity tells us about Israel and the importance of Israel, because I think a lot of people don't have here's what it is. I see a lot of Christians saying things that are not biblical about the situation. And I'm like, do you even read the Bible?
Yes. No. I'm definitely with it. The Book of Revelation. It is one.
Oh, right. It's one revelation, not multiple.
That's how the
as if it matters. As if it really matters. Because here's what I'm saying. My man had a vision that's like hours long. There's mad parts to it. I would say that's an S.
Bro, don't you ever come
Revelations.
Don't ever come from John again. When you survive being dipped in hot oil and being cast into an island, then you get to change what he said. No, I'd absolutely be down for that. I'm actually supposed to be going on Berlin's show. I got to get back to Berlin in regards to the topic of, is Israel still the chosen people, which is not an anti-Semitic topic, or it is a conversation of theology. So it gets weird when people say something's anti-Semitic, and I'm like, well, wait, this is a question of philosophy and theology. But I know. Coy, I'm just gonna call you Coy, says, Jolly G, thanks. Stop hating on the penny pincher community. Ooh, I know who this is. Welcome in, Berlin. It's good to see you. The mini Berlin, you should do a show called The Many Faces of Berlin.
Okay, so check this out. I here's what it is. Amala, I saw the shortened version of her video. She only has a video that's 41 minutes long on her channel. Oh yeah, and we can't go through all that, give or take. I'll give you straight up, because you probably hear it from other sources and other things. Right. And so she says, according to her, two private eyes came to her, and they admitted that they work for Diddy. And they
go ahead. I'll find the video. Go ahead.
And they offered her money if she would tell them who's paying her to report bad things about Diddy. And then they offered her, they're like, not only will we pay you for that, if you tell us you did it, we'll pay you even more. If you start reporting on Diddy's side of the story.
Right. Candace Owens actually reported on this too. It's two burly looking white guys, and they're like, yeah. I've seen it making the rounds. I'm gonna see if I can find the video, man. Give me a
so here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I definitively believe this, but what I feel this opens the door for, maybe this was Diddy's master plan, but is it possible? Is it possible that he's being railroaded?
Mm.
And that's why he's having these investigations done. He's willing to spend money for that, right? And is it possible that someone wanted him out of the way? Let's face this fact. You ever notice that whenever people are just accused of stuff and just a boatload, like an orgy of evidence, as they call it, falls on our laps, and like the movies and television are like, and this and this and this, look what he's done. We don't really question it. Like, right. I'm not a private eye. I can't discern if this is true or not.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm insane for doubting it. I mean, what do you think? So just be real with me. Think he's guilty?
Did he?
Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely think that he is guilty.
Okay, not a problem. I asked for that.
Oh, I'm trying to find the video for you. So I'm not ignoring you, but
no. I totally dig it. But what I'm saying is, I think that this actually opens the floodgates to the idea that perhaps there is a Diddy side of the story. And if you notice, we haven't heard his side of the story.
Well, of course, there's a Diddy side of the story. Now, let me not say that me thinking he's guilty does not mean I don't believe that other people are culpable in the evil that's going on here, right? I talked about this on Mic Check, man, and some people in my Discord agreed with me, or I should say Bex's Discord. Some people agreed with me, which is that Diddy was raised up in this. And I don't mean as a young lad. I mean as he was ascending to power and gaining access to more wealth and more influence, you get invited into rooms that you normally wouldn't go to. And he was ushered into this lifestyle. So I definitely think he's guilty, but I also think there was a hand in raising the monster. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. So my man Fetty Wap said it all, right? So he said, after he became famous, he started getting invited to parties where he's asked to worship the devil and shit.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like being invited into the elite Hollywood circle, it's almost like the ultimate test, right?
Yes,
you're probably getting tossed all these crazy things, all these opportunities. They're like, bang this, snort this, worship this.
Oh, I sent you the video. I hope it's the correct one. Go ahead and check it out when you get a chance.
And just so you guys don't know, in the order of operations, that's children, cocaine, and the devil.
Oh, actually, our secret contributor sent me an Instagram video, so we don't have to watch an entire video from someone else. So I'm going to send you that. It is vertical. All right.
Okay. You know what? I'm willing to go vertical on this one.
Pause.
But here's what I'm. But what if I was saying it to a bitch? I don't understand, man.
I just sent it to you in Discord. It's the video, the Instagram video, not the one above the Instagram video. The pause game is an insidious thing, isn't it? There was a point in time at the Haven where brothers were scared to talk. Do you remember that, Mantis? We were all sitting around each other, and it was the clearest English you've heard any Americans ever speak before, because it was like there could be no double entendres, right? There couldn't be any room for like people
for any misunderstanding about what you meant.
Yeah, I got to give it to Zeus. Pause. He was the king of the pause game. Like that fool I thought he was sleeping one day, and
because he was gay. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. But honest, they don't know who Zeus is. He's like one of our best friends. We all grew up together.
To death, man. Oh. Yo, he was insidious with it, man. He was insidious with that, man. Oh man, it always bums me out when we lose bot subscribers. We were up to 82. Now we're down to 80.
Wait, we're losing bot subscribers?
Yeah, man. I paid 25 cents for those bots. No, not this one. Not this one. The one underneath the video. The one underneath.
Oh, brother.
This is grade A.
The one under. Oh, okay. This one's super short, isn't it?
Yeah, thankfully.
Another reason why I dislike Instagram things, because they're never long.
Pause. It's not long enough for man.
Oh damn, we have opened up the look at this. That little thing. Oh God. Why, baby Jesus? Why? Okay, let's hear what she has to say.
But they kept bringing up my content that I made in regard to P. Diddy and his connection to other celebrities. They would not say who they were working for and who had hired them to come and travel around to these different influencers. But they did say that they would be going to multiple influencers who are talking about these stories to figure out whether or not they're being paid by a specific entity to share them. Now, I am definitely not paid to talk about what I talk about on my channel, but they said not only would they pay me to disclose who I was being paid by, but they would pay me more than whatever I was getting to share the opposite story. I don't know who these guys were. I don't even know if they were telling the truth, but they did say there were 10 other influencers that they were going to be visiting. So I'm putting this out there in case this happens to anybody else. And I will be going more in depth as to what happened on my show today in case you want any further information. But this is very, very strange.
Okay, so the first question I have for you, my friend, let's say her for a minute, for just a second.
Just a second.
Right? Would you take them up on their offer?
Would I take them up on their offer to speak falsehoods on under promise of threat?
Well, not falsehoods, but what if they were like, well, will you report the opposite story for money?
No, I wouldn't take them up on their story because I wouldn't take them up on their offer. And this is why. It's not because of my integrity level, right? There's always a got 'em in these type of scenarios. It's like, hey, why don't you tell this side of the story? And it seems like that's the moment where Satan's like slithering on your back and just crawling up behind you, getting ready to give you the old brajol. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't do it because I don't want the flip to come out. Well, yeah, we made your favorite, content creators forsake their integrity. They knew he was guilty and they took the money and they took no.
So for starters, I don't know anyone is guilty. I don't, I don't have omniscience like that. But well, let me tell you a quick story about that. So do you remember, and I'm sure you're gonna call her my girl, Lauren Chen?
Which one was Lauren Chen?
The Chinese girl. Conservative Chinese girl.
Yes. I do remember.
Did you hear what happened to her?
No, what happened?
Okay, so there was this Russian-backed YouTube channel. It was like a corporate YouTube channel, but it was Russian propaganda. Okay. And that channel started paying all these different content creators to do pro-Russian stories. Right? Tim Pool's one of them. Okay. And they did a whole thing, and the government is pressing charges on them. Tim Pool is fighting in court right now. This is like a serious thing. Wow. But apparently, they caught her and her husband literally on the phone, talking to like Russian people, trying to get her to do pro-Russian stories and tell falsehoods. And really? they supposedly have a recording of her. So while the other people are still making videos and they're still in the game, she's completely out of the game. Her channels have disappeared. We haven't seen her for months.
So I had heard about this, right? And I honestly, while you were talking, just was typing, obviously, to find out a little bit more. And the first thing that came up was Russians paid right-wing creators $100,000 per video. And I got a Young Turks video here. I know how you feel about them.
Yeah, no, I mean, if they're actually dishing real information and not flipping out about elections, I'll definitely play it. Their stuff.
Oh, you heard about the Morning Joe heading over to Mar-a-Lago, hanging out with President Trump, right?
I have to say, I'm seriously hard off on that one. Like, I'm hard as a rock when I heard this one happen, and so it comes down to this. There was almost nobody more brutal against Trump than Joe Scarborough. Scarborough was like, there are clips of him just being like, he's a horrible monster, Nazi. And he's like losing his mind. And you're like, bro, you need to take a chill pill or something. And I love it that like apparently his ratings are in the toilet. Because here's what it is. His show just became him bitching about Trump all the time, all 24/7. And so now he had to make peace with Trump to try to get ratings up. And so this idiot, and this proves that they don't stand by what they believe. Because if I really hated him that much, there's no way I would come and kiss his ring and be like, please let me have fans again. But this guy did that.
Well, apparently he did what he thought he and his wife, and they talked about it on their show today. They did what they thought they should do as journalists, right? Try to cool the temperature, go there, get back to honest reporting. And I'm going to take that at face value, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take it at face value that they're actually trying to get back to genuine, sincere, journalism. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm going to go with it. I just sent you the Young Turks thing on Laura Chan if you want. Yo, also, did you know Destiny's taking strays right now from people who were close in his circle saying that he's an abuser and all? Typical.
I didn't actually know that one.
Yeah.
Gray Windham says, other than the hotel video of him beating Cassie, one of the men he abused allegedly says he has a lot of video proof. Did hire him as a videographer, and he's got the evidence. Oh, that's the problem, guys. Yeah. Do not tape your crimes. What's wrong with you people?
You see, I gave the confirmation of the De Niro face when Gray put that out. When the truth comes out, that's my thing. I'm just like the De Niro face, like.
And she says the evidence of his depravity. And that's the thing. Here's the thing. When I say, is he possibly not guilty? Obviously, he is guilty of abusing Cassie. The hallway video is not the only video. I've actually seen video of what was going on in the hotel room, and he's kicking her. He put a bag over her head, and he's kicking her while she's on the ground. Obviously he's guilty of that stuff. But let's call a spade a spade. But anyway, let's check out what's going on here. You said you did send it in Discord?
Yeah, Discord. I sent you the Young Turks talking about the Laura Chan situation, which, hey, man, a lot of propaganda coming out from both sides. And that's why I never jump so deeply into conservative media and believe that they're just these altruistic people. And also, your boy Steve does have a non-original thought for you, man. And it was about what we're going to be talking about later, where the Candace Owens takes a shot at the Beehive and Beyonce's mother in regards to the amazing job that independent media has done at really damaging the reputation of celebrities.
Right.
And traditional media, man.
Right, the clickbait on that particular video, I think I had a reaction when you sent it. I was like, what the hell? Because I saw what it says.
Right.
She's saying. But obviously, it's taken in the wrong context. But I just gotta say it like this. There is no single YouTuber or personality or whatever it is that I listen to 100% of the time, or even 70% of the time. Right. I take it all with a grain of salt. I check out other newscasts. I see all these things. And that's how I can be the true purveyor of truth.
Right.
And so I can tell when liberals are lying to me, and I can tell when conservatives are blowing smoke up my ass or trying to pitch me on something.
Right. It's all agenda based, right? And you just want to have, if you have a good foundation, a good worldview that allows you to use discernment, wink, wink, you start to look at things not because of who it's coming from, but because of why it's being said.
Right. And so, like, for instance, like the Quartering, a bunch of other people, they have these pro-Russian videos, and I'm like, who do you think you're talking to right now, bro? Like, what? It's bizarre, right?
It was my stance on the red pill, man. And to this day, I have a very short list of red pill or red pill adjacent content creators that I actually respect. One of them being Guapo, and always will say shout out to him. I sent you and Shaolin and Bex the video where he shouted me out on his channel, man. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that, man. A lot of respect for that guy for opening the door or attempting to. I didn't walk through because of friendships, but whatever.
Guys, just so Steve came to me, heart to heart, and he's like, "Should I just embrace the red pill and just go for it?" I was like, bro, your immortal soul is on the line right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that I'm the reason he didn't do it. The fact that he's a moral person is why he didn't do it. He struggled with it. I will tell you that. And it's true. Steve could have at a certain time blown past us in Clout by being a full-blown red pillar. But then how could he ever hug his mother again?
How could I ever hug my mother again? Is her name Anna? What is her name, Mantis?
Anna Kasparian.
Anna Kasparian.
I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly.
First of all, I want to give her a shout out for her recent ability to become objective about political commentary and things of that nature. So shout out to her. She gets the horn, man.
Because recently they tried to eat her alive because she had one differing opinion from the rest of the lefties.
And also shout out to you, Mantis. I do want to set the record straight. Mantis is 100% the reason, but not like I'm blaming him, that I did not step through the door of making 100% like red pill adjacent content. Like there was a path. I could have taken it, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, I had a conversation with a friend who had a deferring view, and he was able to convince me like, hey man, it doesn't seem worth it. You're seeing success with conversations that matter. What would you rather be remembered for doing? I can't remember the exact words you used. We were both drunk, but you gave me a good talking to.
Well, thank you for acknowledging that. And I didn't realize I was like the main influence on that. But thank you for staying with us.
Yeah. Poverty is your fault. I want you to know
but
that.
Like you said, you at least have your soul, right? You at least still have your soul. And here's what I'm saying: your soul isn't going to buy you a cup of coffee. It's not going to find you a warm place to take a crap. But in the end, when you're before God, you will need it.
Yeah, I definitely will. It will count there. And then I'll be laughing. I'm gonna get kicked out of heaven because I'm gonna be laughing at all the people who laughed at us. I'm like, unless I'm descending with you. But let's hear what this beautiful blonde liberal temptress has to say.
We have some updates on the Justice Department indictments of 2 Russian nationals who work for RT, and how a Tennessee-based media company called Tenet essentially used prominent right-wing content creators here in the United States to unwittingly spread pro-Russian propaganda. But one person didn't do so unwittingly, and that was the co-founder of Tenet, Lauren Chen. The other co-founder is actually her husband. So the indictment didn't list their names. And I want to be clear that Lauren Chen and her husband have not been indicted. There is a possibility they could be in the future, depending on how this case plays out. But the indictment does clearly note multiple times that Lauren Chen and her husband seem to know that the money was coming from Russia, and they went to some lengths to basically conceal that fact from the content creators, even fabricating a person out of whole cloth.
I assume you want to talk about Shaolin's amazing comment of the year.
Yeah, let me say the wrong thing first. I was like, is Shaolin trying to turn me into the Winter Soldier?
Yes, that's what I thought it was.
Oh, okay.
Is that not the Winter Soldier code?
I thought it was too.
Longing, rusted furnace, daybreak, 17, benign, 9, homecoming, 1, freight car. You said it, so now that we've said it aloud, if we are a Russian agent, we should be activated right now.
Good on you, Shaolin. Good on you, man.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
So let's get into those details.
Lauren Chen, Russian
Cenk,
spy.
we covered this story yesterday when you were out, and I'm sure you have a lot to say about the story in general. So I'm gonna give you an opening to just tell me what you think so far.
Yeah, look, we've had beefs with some of those guys, and at different times we've gotten along with some of those guys. So on a personal level, I wish this story didn't exist and that they had never done this. But I gotta be honest with you guys. So they're getting paid $100,000 a video. Okay, now if we were paid $100,000 per video, we'd never have to ask you for another dime again. Okay, because that's not the economics of digital media.
Tim Pool didn't ask questions why these
some of the videos would get 8,000 views. That's like $50, man. So then they ask, okay, who's giving the money? And they claim, oh, it is just a wealthy businessman, and they make up a name. You didn't Google the guys, because if you Googled, you'd know that he doesn't exist. So you never even bothered to ask. They're getting $400,000 a month for just 4 videos. If you do that over the course of a year, that's $4.8 million.
Right.
And you didn't bother asking who was giving you that money. You didn't bother Googling. And all the videos happen to be pro-Russia and against Ukraine. Wow, what a coincidence. So this whole thing of like, were victimized too. I'm sorry, but I mean, I'm not saying that they're criminally responsible or anything like that, but don't tell me that you had no idea what was going on.
Right. And so that's what Tim Pool is saying. Tim Pool is here's what it is. Everyone else is clamming up. Tim Pool's being vocal. And he's like, I had no idea. What? I'm getting paid to make videos. What's wrong? According to Megyn Kelly, when this first dropped and Lauren Chen immediately vanished, she says her connects say that they actually they have wiretaps of them recorded knowingly, her and her husband and a third person talking about it and knowingly talking about what they're doing.
See, and this is what I'm talking about, man. This is what I'm talking about with these voices on the internet, besides the two voices that you find yourself under right now.
Right, just listen to us. Just listen to us.
GrizRadio.com. These people are all on the same type of energy, man. They are all entertainers. They're all trying to make money. You know how you always give me smoke because I'm I'm pro integrity, pro someone's credentials, right? That doesn't mean that I believe that the credentialed people do the right thing. But I want to believe that if you committed your scholastic career to becoming a journalist, that at some point you took an oath to share nothing but the truth with people, as opposed to the guy with the tinfoil on his head on YouTube, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the Nick Fuentes character sitting behind a mic somewhere telling me that he knows the truth about why the country's
He's like, trust me, man, I know the truth. Well, here's what I'm saying. Corporate media obviously is not just as corrupt. Yeah. Because they're corrupt in the other way, where the poor person's making it up, right? Because they need clicks. They're Mike Zero or whatever. But the rich person, the wealthy people are doing it because they're billionaire bosses are ordering them to sprout lies.
And that's why I found the Morning Joe situation so interesting. Actually, we can't play any more of the Young Turks video. I don't know their official stance on copyright and all that stuff. But that's why the Morning Joe situation was kind of refreshing to me, man. Won't say I got a hard on, but if they are really committed to saying, hey,
oh yeah,
if they are really committed to saying, hey, we're going to report on this gentleman's accomplishments, honestly, then I think that's leading the country in the correct direction. And I think it would more than likely is exactly what we need, man, because if we're going to report honestly, then he has to be held to that standard, right? It's like no one's making up a story about you. This is what you did. You know?
I hope that's what they do. Here's what I'm saying, because I don't think they've said I don't think they said that. What they simply are saying is they're going to stop shitting on him so hard if he sends them their stories and allows them in on the circle, like, the circle of, being president. But the fact is that, like, the things they said were so horrific, or like just over the top crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you know what it is. And so have you heard about what's going on? At first I thought it was CNN. Oh no, at first I thought, which one is it? I think no, at first I thought it was MSNBC, but apparently it's CNN. One of those are going out of business. I keep getting them confused. Because of basically layoffs are supposed to be coming in March. Okay. It's either MSNBC or CNN. I'm sorry, guys, I get them confused. They're both liberal mouthpieces in terms of things, but supposedly layoffs are coming.
Okay.
And what they're saying is ratings have seriously dropped. And since the election, ratings have dropped even worse because you know what it is? All they did was lie to the people.
Right.
And people don't want to keep tuning into a bunch of lies.
And here's the thing, man. You keep telling someone that this guy is a clear and present danger. It's MSNBC, clear and present danger to freedom in America, just our way of life, to the point where you might even be culpable in assassination attempts on him, right? You finally convince someone that's I
would feel comfortable if we had charges against every one of these people who are like calling him Hitler and stuff. Every one of these reporters who say it and repeatedly say it, I would love for them to have some charge or get in trouble in some way.
Right. Yeah, it looks like it's MSM, but they're all hurting. But hey, this is not new as well, because when he was voted out of office and when he lost the election in 2020, news ratings went down across the board for Fox, for CNN, and it went down for MSNBC because Trump had become the major talking point on all those networks, right? So it went down drastically. And let's not forget, man, for all of you with the short memories, Fox turned on Trump at one point.
They did, yeah. They were really pissed. And they're like, let's hate on him. Let's hate on this dude.
They turned on him heavy, man.
And they had turned on him up to the point where like he started running again for 2024, and they were still hating on him. And it was unclear if they were going to be on his side. Let me ask you. So during, we touched on John Jones' fight, right? But let me ask you, how did you feel about, it wasn't just John Jones dancing and going to see him and handing him his belt. Throughout the entire night, the cameras kept going over to Trump and his boys, hanging out,
right,
having a good time, living the dream. Jelly Roll, country music celebrity. He's actually a liberal. He actually went for Kamala. He ends up bumping into Trump, and they start hanging out together.
Yeah. So you're referring to UFC 309 at Madison Square Garden that just went down this weekend. The main event was obviously between the GOAT of MMA, widely accepted as the greatest to ever do it, John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. And at one point, Trump walked into Madison Square Garden, and this is going to segue into a smaller story. Conor McGregor has been taking shots at Trump for a few months now because Trump said his favorite fighter was Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Conor responded, "Imagine being an American fighter and hearing that a Russian is your former president's
whatever, bro. Khabib, I mean, come on."
And then that turned into a back and forth, not between Trump and Conor, but more so Conor and other fans, that who has to allow their walkout. Well, apparently when Trump came to Madison Square Garden this weekend, he walked out to a thunderous applause. And if you don't know the way sound works, man, watching it at home, you can hear that it was loud. Even Joe Rogan even the commentator said, "Hey, man, this is insane how loud these people are for Trump right now." And after John Jones defeated Stipe, he did the legendary Trump dance. I sent you a clip. I don't know if you want to play it in the background, but he did the Trump dance. Then he jumped on the cage and, celebrated a little bit more, jumped down and handed his belt to Donald Trump, and then shook his hand.
Which is wild. I think that part was wild.
Oh,
I would have done the dance. I would not have given him my belt.
Well, apparently it was a huge moment of symbolic relevance because John Jones was handing it to him because Trump is the champion and just won his own fight of sorts. But
he won many fights. Trump won many fights in the last couple of weeks.
So this is more so about John Jones, who also took the opportunity to continue to profess his faith in Christ. Let's be clear about who John Jones is, man. He's made a lot of public mistakes, all of which I will name now. And I am a diehard John Jones fan.
You're his biggest fan.
I'm a fan of him as a mixed martial artist, and I am a person that understands that he is a human being that has done some wild, horrible shit. So John Jones crashed a car. He crashed a car into a pregnant woman, did not come back to render aid after he crashed the car, but he did run back to grab his dick pills and his weed and run back off into the woods.
Jesus fucking Christ. I should not have said that. I'm sorry.
He popped for picograms of controlled substances, popped for cocaine, punched Daniel Cormier in his face in front of Daniel Cormier's wife. And all that is true, and John is wrong for doing all of it. He beat his wife in front of his children, allegedly, or not. This is all been confirmed. None of that changes the fact that he's the greatest mixed martial artist to do it. And me being a fan of him as an athlete doesn't mean I'm condoning his behaviors. He knows what he did was wrong, and it is wrong. So let me say that publicly. But he won, jumped up on the cage, celebrated after doing the Trump dance, gave his belt to Trump, and people are disgusted. Some people are disgusted by this, man. Absolutely.
I don't see why they're disgusted. Because here's what I'm saying. It's getting to the point where you like, here's what it is. And I think I know how the homosexuals feel. because I've had to be a closeted Trump supporter for a long time,
Right.
and finally I feel like I can come out of the closet. Now I'm not going back. Just like the guys at the Pride Parade, I'm not going back. Not for you bigots. I'm talking to you feminists. So what am I supposed to do? Pretend I'm not happy? Pretend this isn't joyous? This isn't a wonderful time?
Right.
It's funny that, like, even though you just listed all his sins, I love that he has Philippians 4:13. Not the phrase, but actually he has the word Philippians 4:13 tattooed on him, which is I can do all things through Christ, right?
Right.
And so
none of which include the things that he did.
right. We're all sinners and we all mess up. I may have gone into the woods and then come back for my dick pills too. Who knows? Who knows? You never know until you're in it, right?
Right.
But I do like that he identified that he was a Christian. He was a happy Christian American.
Yes.
And stuff like that. And, like, once again, Trump isn't going to rescue or save any of us. But this last election, it felt like it came down to this thing where, like, are you going to draw the line? Or are you going to draw the line? You're going to keep half stepping and letting the opposition mutilate children and change all our laws and make everything weird and destroy marriage and destroy our culture, or are we going to stand up as Christians? And so I am proud of him, not for the dick pills. Here's what I'm saying, for standing up for Trump. And once again, it wasn't that a lot of people said, oh, he's bowing to Trump. He wasn't bowing to Trump. He was showing reverence to a president. Yeah. And plenty of people do this. When Biden walks around, the libtards love it. I don't know why they're not physically powerful enough to climb up on a cage, but, like, whatever they do the equivalent. Well, I think they wag their dicks around or something. They're
in regards to UFC and mixed martial arts, right? Because a lot of people make this weird combination where they're like the art of UFC. No, UFC is an organization. Mixed martial arts is the
people always make like normies will forever make this mistake. They don't understand what a league is or what a sport is or what a martial art is, right?
Exactly. And here's the thing, man. We're talking about a bunch of trained combatants, right? Trained fighters, and there are women in the UFC, and there are women fighters in the whole of mixed martial arts who probably have differing views from their male counterparts. But we're talking about a bunch of guys who respect their own physical prowess and their own capability. It does not surprise me that they support Trump, man. It does not surprise me, man, especially when you have the now infamous, I think Meryl Streep, I believe it was, who was receiving an reward and took the moment to publicly diss Donald Trump and say, though you support the mixed martial arts, they are not the arts. And it was a thunderous applause from, you're not up to speed on this, man?
Oh, no, I'm not.
Thunderous applause from all the weak, limp-wristed men and women in there. And just like you have a bunch of people who are actors and thespians, thespians and creatives who support liberals, you're going to have fighters who support conservative ideals because they believe in something that a lot of people don't understand. I am made famous by the possibilities of what I can do. That is at the bottom of being a combat sports athlete, man. It's different to being a basketball player. It's different to being a baseball player and a football player. I literally will set generational wealth for my family by the power of my fist. Of course, they're going to support Donald Trump.
Right. No, absolutely. Right. I can feed my kids because I'm a warrior. But, like, just another thing I have to say is that this last election, and just politically, it's become a gender war. And I have to say, the Democrats don't acknowledge this. They don't apologize for this at all. But one of the things that is going on is they have criminalized being a male.
Yeah.
And you can't be a happy male. You can't be a masculine male. You have to be a Tim Walz, right? Like you know what I love? Like someone pointed this out. It might have been Brett Cooper. It might have been someone else. They pointed out that they in a lot of the commercials where they're trying to get men to support Kamala, they kept saying like the men in the commercials would say words like, "I'm not scared to be a cheerleader for Kamala." And they're like, "Are you going to cheerlead for a woman? Are you going to cheer?" And they keep using the word cheerlead for a woman, and they're trying to address men. You think a man wants to be a cheerleader? Unless you're George W. Bush, no man in the history of humanity who wants to be a cheerleader for a chick.
Hey, those dudes get laid, man.
No, they do. In high school, I was like, "Oh man, I wish we had male cheerleaders here. I would be in it so deep." But anyway, I could go on and on about how they failed in the commercials and they did all these things.
Right.
But what it is, and so I don't know if you watched any of the new stuff with Grace Randolph. And so she didn't watch the UFC fight, but I think this is so telling of her type. And if people are like, "What do you mean, what type?" I don't mean blonde, rich, white women from the Upper West, East Side, East, not West. What I mean is that people who are in the liberal bubble. And so she didn't watch that, but she watched the Paul versus Tyson fight.
Oh boy.
And she commented on what he said at the end. And obviously a lot of stupid things are said at the end. But one of the things that Jake Paul said is he said, he's like, "I'm a proud American. I think it's a good time to be American. I support everyone in uniform. I support our police, and I love our flag. God bless America." And he said all this stuff, and everyone was cheering like crazy. And when she was pointing out to this, she said, "It's so weird. He didn't blatantly say he was MAGA, but he alluded to being MAGA. And instead of being focusing on their hatred, it's like it was a positive experience." And so what I'm gathering to this is what you're telling me is that liberals don't know that people who voted for the other side have love in their heart and love their country and joy in their heart. You think we sit around swastikas worshiping Satan and saying, "I can't wait till we burn all those immigrants"? That's literally what liberals think of us. That's how deranged and out of touch these people are.
Well, it's funny because to juxtapose that, and of course, I got to be very careful of this statement here because a lot of this information comes from right-leaning platforms. But the amount of people on Twitter saying, "I hope you get deported now because you voted for Trump," is wild, because it's like your ideology only goes as far as your political wins, right? So you go from being a innocent, someone can see values of human life, to "I hope you experience," and it's like, that's the crazy part of it, man. Of course, not all conservatives are sitting around and screaming for the death of immigrants. Maybe some are, and I won't deny that some are. I won't go as far as, all right, let me give you where I'm coming from, right? I pray for our people in uniform. I pray that they do the job correctly. I pray that they understand the station that they hold in our society, and they would understand the burden of protection and doing it lawfully in the eyes of God.
And you should also pray that they return safely.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I get around to it eventually. Depending on that day, I'm like, I pray for this. But you understand what I'm saying? I pray for those institutions. I want them to be what they're supposed to be. I recognize that there is evil in those institutions, because wherever there is man, there is the potential of evil. And that's the difference between me and like the crazies on the right. I know there are crooked cops. I can say that out loud. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't show love to the non-crooked cops.
Right, absolutely. And I've said this before, but like, I was basically I had a lawyer for something, I had, public defender. And so he was just like, and he's like, "I'm telling you, the cop is going to come to the trial and testify against you." I met him, and he's like, "I know, I can just tell." And I said to him, "In your experience, these cops liars or what?" And he said, "Cops are regular people." And he's like, "On a chart, He's like, some of them are liars, some of them tell the truth like they're Boy Scouts, and everyone else is in the middle.
Right.
You really don't know what you're gonna get until you're up there. And I was like, oh wow, okay, that's cool. But you know what's crazy? I had to be told that to think that, and because this was back when I was a little more liberal, and I was like, I thought all cops were scum,
Right.
and then I realized, I was like, wait, police are people too? What?
But yeah, if you juxtapose your experience in that situation, though, your public defender, what he or she should have been focused on was, yes, cops can lie. How can I make sure that you, as my client, are represented in a way where only the truth shines? I'm sure what they did on the other side was make you take a deal on some bullshit, because public defenders have lunch with the DA.
Yes, and that is, and it ended up I had to take a deal or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it's corrupt. It's absolutely corrupt. In regards to the John Jones situation, right? In regards to him doing what he did, that's what he did. Now, does that mean that a black man has endorsed Nazi behavior? No. He jumped over a fence. He gave his belt to a president that he respects. And actually, I want to give someone a shout out right now. There was a content creator by the name of DaVinci once that actually bursted a bubble. That's right. She brought some information to me that I was unaware of. I know how you guys view me. I'm plugged up to all these things down here, just knowing everything. And I don't want to shatter that fairy tale for you, but I must. I did not know a group that I had held in such high regard as a kid had some scrupulous behaviors towards the women that supported them. That's right. I'm talking about the Black Panthers. So
what?
Exactly.
He said exactly. And I said what? So now I'm extra confused. I am extra confused. Yeah.
So DaVinci did a live once on Spoon, pointing out the behaviors of some Black Panther Party members towards women and how that impacted the women of the movement. Predatory behaviors. Go look it up. It's all public information, and we have to take every claim with a grain of salt. But there are enough claims that things were happening where it made me look at it and go, maybe the revolution wasn't this altruistic movement that I thought it was. It doesn't mean that the notion of it isn't relevant and necessary, but it's filled with people. And whenever there are groups of people, there's going to be the potential of evil. Why did I just make that point? Because if you can't see that your heroes have the opportunity to do corrupt things, then you're a fool. But they also have the opportunity to do good things. So we take it case by case and we call out evil as we see it, right? Makes sense?
Yeah, no, that is so well said. It's so funny. FX is coming out with a series about the so here's what it is. I love the IRA. For those who don't know, the IRA are the Irish Republican Army. So they're the terrorists who used to fight for Northern Ireland. So when after the British conquered the Irish many years later, after World War II, they were like, you know what? We'll let Ireland go. They can be their own country, except for Northern Ireland, where all the jobs and money are. And so Irish people stuck as slaves of the English in the modern age were like, F this, let's kill some people and try to be free. Right. They're having a show that's coming out. However, it's focusing on not a weird, but a true topic of the women who fought for them who are also sexually abused by
them
members. And so this is actually evident, and what you said was perfect, and this all leads up to the same thing, that there's this belief that there is altruism and there's only like shreds and shadows of it. But the truth is like you said, anywhere there's humans, there's a bunch of sin and craziness and people looking to take advantage. And so there isn't. That's the problem with the call of the communist revolution. We'll all be brothers and sisters. No, you're going to be licking someone's boot and they're going to be raping your sister.
Or
that's what the communist revolution is.
Often people don't understand the after of the revolution, right? People who often overthrow one evil regime sometimes become an evil regime in themselves, right? Because the ideology that they came up with while looking good on paper turns out takes a hell of a lot of blood to enforce these tactics, right?
Yeah, especially if they came from abuse. Remember, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah. Perfectly said. Hey, speaking of hurt people, my friend, let's talk about our favorite chocolate gumdrop, Candace Owens. You got the video queued up, man?
I will have it. I'm actually, so here's what it is. I haven't seen it, and I'm scared to see it because here's what you know. What I realized. She is my chocolate flower, and I've been defending her nonstop. And I find it harder and harder to defend her as her independent reign goes on. How do you feel about that?
I believe Candace Owens is open to criticism just like everyone else. And like I've said in the past, she has said some way out shit that I've been like, huh, really, Candace? So no, nothing she says surprises me, and I'm never ever disappointed by any of it because I know that Candace Owens has an agenda, right? She has a clear agenda, and she always speaks to that agenda. But she's not the only one taking shots at the Beehive, which is the video you're about to see. Apparently, Beyonce's mother had some things to say about Candace Owens' claims about celebrities being paid by the Kamala Harris campaign. Now, go ahead.
Well, yeah, for those who don't know, I think we touched on it a little last time, but like ultimately, there's this belief that, speaking of altruism, that all these celebrities that randomly came out for Kamala at the end of the run were doing it because they're supporters and they love her. And it's turning out not to be so true. Not even Oprah. Oprah took at least $1 million for her appearance fee.
Subsidiaries or whatever.
Yeah. And so what it is that people are getting paid for these endorsements.
Yeah. People most certainly got paid. We don't know. Well, I guess it's a point of public record. We do know who got paid. It's just they're denying it. It's like you don't know what to believe anymore. But Candace Owens takes a clear shot at the way black people are now responding to celebrity endorsements of quote unquote black candidates, right? And she's making a point that a lot of other people have made that maybe Glorilla, Meg Thee Stallion, and Beyonce and others did more harm, J-Lo included, did more harm to Harris's campaign than they did good. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Independent media, social media content creators have done such a good job on the right on discrediting these people by constantly shoving in your face their own mishaps, their own sins. I'm talking about celebrities to the point where it's like, yeah, why do we celebrity worship, right? Why?
Right. I don't get it. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is there anyone whose celebrity endorsement would convince you to chuck your own beliefs in the garbage?
No.
And go with them. So even if John Jones was like, I support Kamala Harris.
No, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter because at the end of the day, I have to sit with my own decision on it. And I think, so here's the thing, man. I said something, I've been meaning to address this. I said something a little while ago in regards to Christians that vote Democrat. And I said that I don't see how you can be a Christian and vote Democrat. And then I started perusing some of the opinions of Christians that were voting Democrat. And I was like, okay, you make some arguments that I can identify with. So I want to retract that statement. Here's how I want to revise the statement, man. I don't see how you could support a candidate that supports things that are so clearly antithetical to Christianity, but I don't think it's a salvific issue. So let me make it even clearer for the dummies in the back. If you voted for a Democrat and you're a Christian, I do not believe your salvation is in question. Because in fact, that would be heretical in itself. So I just wanted to clear that up right there.
Okay. And so, I agree with you. I can't think of a celebrity who them saying you should change your vote, I would change my vote. And what it is celebrities are cute. They do their thing. I use them for what I use them for, but they do not influence me.
No, they may influence my opinions on the grander things, but they won't change my views. Maybe they'll give me something to think about. You know what written song or something like that. Or if it's a well articulated point, then maybe it will give me something to think about. But them endorsing a candidate won't change my mind.
I'm going to give you pushback on something you said. I don't think they do influence you. Here's what it is. I think that we, as humans, watch influencers who follow our own beliefs. And so and I think that you're like, oh, well, Candace Owens had me convinced on something. I think you probably already felt that way.
No. Here's what I'm saying, right? They might influence me, like maybe the influence is not even. They would give me something to ponder or think about. Right?
That's okay. That makes more sense.
They would give me something to ponder and think about. But even Candace Owens endorsing a candidate, that's not going to make me go, "Well, Candace is doing it." No, I pride myself on making my own decisions. Now, I will tell you that family and how something's going to impact family will directly.
That makes sense. That's a good thing to be influenced by. But I'm saying just a celebrity or a YouTuber that we like, they're not influencers. And, that's why it's so stupid. What they mean is by an influencer is like they bought a purse or they bought roller skates and then you want those roller skates. They don't influence you in any real way. Like you wouldn't change your vote because your favorite YouTuber thinks something. It's totally idiotic.
But that's us. There are people who are heavily influenced and their vote can be changed. Yeah, there are people like that, man. There are people like
so sad. That's so sad. But, let's because you know that even though Taylor Swift had an opinion, there was a group called Swifties for Trump,
right,
in blatant defiance of their queen, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead and hit it.
Yo, you know what? She's so pretty. I would love to clone her. And then
because she then wouldn't have a soul.
Exactly. So I can do anything.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, guys. That was a joke, guys. That was a warm up. Let's watch the video.
Of something that frustrates them. It's a changing social economy. I know Beyonce is used to being bowed down to by Black women like me.
Hello, everybody. Guys, we got Candace Owens today. And this topic that she speaks about is not really that important, but I think it's very revealing. She knows exactly who her audience is. She, to me, is very vile, very dangerous, even more so than a Tim Scott or Byron Donalds.
This guy's
Let's check this out.
Anyways, Mammy Tina decides to brag about these elitist connections that someone was clearly able to pull behind the scenes, able to pull these strings and target just Candace Owens. And she posted this to her Instagram page. She posted, and this is a picture of my show page. So this has been flagged on Instagram as fake news and taken down. It's called false information. Sadly, other platforms with a lack of integrity still have it up. So she's admitting this is just a target of Candace Owens. The lie is that Beyonce was paid $10 million to speak at a rally in Houston for Vice President Kamala Harris, when in fact, Beyonce did not receive a penny for speaking at presidential candidate Vice President Kamala Harris's rally in Houston. In fact, she actually paid for her own flights for her and her team and total glam. She's not even aware of how privileged that sounds. They are not only lying and disrespecting Beyonce's name, but they are trying to further discredit the power of our vice president. When does the lies and rumors stop? She meant to say when do.
Guys, this is about the whole Kamala campaign paid certain amount of millions to Beyonce and other celebrities, which there's no evidence of. That's why she has that false information.
Wait, who are we watching? He's wrong. There's a ton of evidence. So here's what it is. For campaign finance, guys, you actually have to, this is crazy. I thought this was kind of crazy. You actually have to list where your money goes. You have to explain where all that money goes. And there is clear evidence. That's how we found out how much different people are getting. Megan Thee Stallion, $500,000 for appearance. Oprah, $1 million. These things are on record.
Right. Well, he's doubting the validity of the report. And that argument always goes to how can we trust this information that's coming out? And it's the same argument both sides use. And it's annoying.
Fake news. If you don't like it, fake news.
It's like we're no closer to the truth. So how do I know what you're saying, sir, is actually true? What counter evidence do you have to refute the false evidence? And he's not going to present any. It's actually an opinion piece, and he's going to go through his opinions, and he's going to appeal to people's, I won't say emotions. He's going to appeal to what they should see about Candace Owens. Go ahead.
Of course, you won't see this in the news! Exclamation point, times 5. Okay, so parking aside the fact that Tina Knowles is still grifting off her ex-husband's last name, so people know that she's related to Beyonce. To be clear, Tina and her ex-husband Matthew divorced 13 years ago. Her name is Tina Lawson, not Knowles, but let's keep up the Knowles so people can put some respect on your name.
Guys, pay attention to what she just did there. She just attacked Beyonce's mom personally for no reason. This had nothing to do with anything personal. But pay attention, because later you'll see how this connects to her MAGA cultist mind. She's essentially a parrot for white nationalists. I don't know if
Does
she's
this guy
just
have
an
his
idiot or
papers?
she really has an identity crisis. But
Does this guy have his
guys, pay
papers?
attention to what's going on here.
We have to seriously ask
Does he
ourselves why
belong in
she
this
chose to
country? That's the
target just
question.
me, which, by the way, this whole post, as cool as she thought she was with John Legend in the comments, just being like, yeah, you got her. It was actually not well received by the public at all. So I'm going to show you the comment under the Instagram page, which broke the story, which was the neighborhood talk. And you can see, we're just showing you these comments in a row. Somebody writes, Tina, hush. Next person says, she's basically saying they got a bigger bag than a messy 10 million. How preposterous is that? She then says, she lost me at discredit vice president. Hope when the receipts are publicly posted, that'll be the end of that, allegedly. Next person says, that ish public record, go ahead. Next says, I know she is Beyonce's mom, but she does too much. Next person says, Tina, give it up, please. On the following page, it's more of the same. Beyonce never speaks for herself. She was paid, Tina. Beyonce doesn't do anything for free. She got paid. Next person,
this stuff must work on her dumbass audience. Like, you can probably check and see that the majority of comments are not saying that. She obviously just took a few that were in a row that were on her side. Like, these people are just
also this
insane.
guy is like stoned or something. He's moving like
and the way she goes after her,
he's low energy.
She has I can't help but notice, and guys, let me know in the comments. She has a real disdain for black people on the left. And if you're a celebrity that endorses someone on the left, she really has something. I don't know. It's something deep rooted. It's really something deep rooted, and it gets worse. Just watch. She's gonna veer into Trump and stuff.
Was definitely paid. This actually makes Kamala look bad, because if the celebrities wasn't paid, then where is all that money at? And lastly, this person says all of these artists denying being paid and the campaign funds literally got drained to negative digits. How? 10 years ago, comments like that would have been unfathomable. That many black people openly speaking out and questioning the queen in this way. The queen could do no wrong 10 years ago. Oh my gosh, if you said one thing about Beyonce, the whole hive came for you. You were over, you were done. Couldn't touch one hair on her pretty head. We now fast forward 10 years and you have Candace Owens casually stating that I don't even think that Beyonce's had a good album since 4. She's just a part of the establishment machine. Everything she does,
Facts have been dropped.
Guys, this to me is a very revealing comment. She even understands that she has changed the narrative.
No, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Right now.
There it is.
So here's what I'm saying. Obviously, that was a mean comment, but let's get real. Right?
Well, also, I think that he's talking about Candace changing the narrative. And I think what the young man is alluding to is that Candace has turned a lot of black people away from this line of thinking. I think that's what he's saying. I'm not entirely sure what point he's making.
No, the thing I'm trying to back her on is Beyonce hasn't had a good album for a while. And here's what I'm saying. She's had all this is what happens when you're on top. Sometimes you make like decent albums, they're all decent, blah blah blah. The last couple have been decent. I wouldn't even say Cowboy Carter is any good. But Beyonce isn't like Lemonade Beyonce. She hasn't been that for a while.
Bro, listen to me. First of all, the only Beyonce song that I like is off one of the last albums, and it was like a house and you can't break my soul. That might be the only Beyonce song I play. That's literally I've never been a huge Beyonce fan musically, but I did have respect for her breaking away from the chains of promotion and record labels, being able to drop an album without the aid of the machine, without any marketing and anything like that, and it still go platinum. That's an accomplishment. I gotta give that. I agree. I gotta give her her flowers on that. I have another video queued up for this. I know we have 2 videos I definitely want to play tonight, but I got another video queued up because there's another strong black woman that took a shot at the Beehive a long time ago. But go ahead, let this rock because it's gonna get to
No. You're saying if you have 3 more videos, let's get these on. What's the next one you want me to play?
No, just play this one for a little bit more because this is gold.
On how people perceive she's just talking about a celebrity, but really pay attention. She is there to change the narrative on white racism in this country.
Yeah, so that's the point.
Something that easily 20 years ago could have been pointed out. Now we have black people like Candace Owens speaking out against guys during Charlottesville. Remember, you will not replace us. They wanted to preserve white men and whatever it was, and were pissed off that they were taking out the Confederate statues. You know what she said? She defended that the people on the left should not have been there to protest against them. That they essentially, yes, they should be allowed to protest, but what incited everything was the Dems, the people on the left, protesting against that, protesting literally against racism, literally protesting against the people who think that you're worth less than a human. Candace Owens, she's not a moron.
This is what I'm saying is the wild nature
doing.
of these reactionary people. He had me, he was fine, he was doing good, and suddenly he says, literally counter protesting against the idea that you're a human. At no point is anyone in the Charlottesville situation or anything like that ever said that. That has nothing to do with anything. He is injecting silliness. And so even if the Tiki Torch Nazis believe that, that's not what Torch Nazis. That's what they call them. Tiki Torch Nazis. They didn't say that. What they were protesting was the removal of a statue.
I mean,
he got lost in the plot because he's just scared of racism.
But it's also, the fact that they were saying you will not replace us, and we know who that messaging was for. Specifically, the group that shall not be named.
But I'm saying, is that statement equivalent to you are not a human being? Because he just said that. He just said, he's like, people who literally believe you're not humans.
So intellectually,
when did anyone say that?
Intellectually and being consistent, I have to agree with what you're saying, right? You'll never get me to say, yeah, intellectually, I totally get you and I understand what you're saying and I agree with you. I concede to that point. But here's what was the problem with Charlottesville. It's a bunch of dudes walking around with a bunch of tiki torches that they bought at Walmart screaming out, you will not replace us. That's gonna garner a reaction.
Oh no, trust me, I'm not pro that at all. And there was a protest, I don't even know where it was, maybe it was Ohio or something, the other day, where they straight up had swastikas on their flags.
Yeah. Listen, you fuck around, you will find out. But
yeah, I just don't. I don't understand why people don't react. And I'm not going to say anymore what I mean by react. But why don't people react to these people? Because if I lived in that town, I would react.
Bro, listen to me, man. Here's something that you need to know, right? The Ku Klux Klan, and you are aware of this, march down 42nd Street in Manhattan when you and I were kids, right? And there was not one. To my recollection, there was not one situation where there was a car running into people. They had permits to do it. It was all legal. And I did not want that to happen. I was at the time very disappointed that they didn't get their asses whooped from 41st Street.
That's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. Obviously, here's the thing. Obviously, that's not how you have discourse. That's not how you have a dialogue. But we should also have you stay out of New York. And somebody should take the hit, you know what I mean? And them and their boys should run up on them. And so that's one. And then the next time the KKK wants to march, it will make them second guess whether they should give them.
Oh, I see what you're saying. A little vigilante justice. Listen.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Why aren't people reacting? And that's what I'm saying. In Charlottesville, people weren't reacting. In all these
reacting. So
they had counter protesters. Okay, they had counter protesters. Yeah. But I'm saying what I'm saying is
beat their asses.
Yeah, I might take it too much for it out there. Singing or whatever.
Putting out tiki torches the old-fashioned way.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Why don't people react that way? Like the other day, I was appalled by seeing these guys with the swastikas. They had fucking masks on and swastikas on their flag, blatant flag. So they're blatantly Nazis going down this, I think it was Ohio or someplace like that. But I'm saying if I lived in a town, I would not tolerate that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about small towns in Ohio. I'm not thinking it's a thing of tolerance. And that's not an indictment against anyone in small towns.
There was no one to object.
So the last two videos I have to play for you, my friend, and I'll make sure that you know exactly which ones I'm talking about. I think give me a second.
Because once again, I want it to be clear to everyone at home, anyone listening on Riz Radio, anyone in the chat, stuff like that. So I do believe in freedom of speech. I do believe that you need to get out there, you need to say what you need to say, you need to do your thing. I, however, also believe there are, ramifications of your free speech. So if you say something that's going to incite violence, well, violence might find you.
100%.
Right. And I just want to make it clear that me saying that if KKK guys walk down my street and I would jump them, that is not me against freedom of speech. I'm pro them saying what they want to say.
And you are saying that you have the right to respond.
Right.
If you didn't stick around long enough for that to be fully fleshed out, someone will inevitably accuse you of being a pro-white nationalist. But what Mantis said for the short bus revolutionaries, right, is that, yeah, you can say what you want in this great country, and then you can find out what my response is, man. And I respect you for that. So here is what I want to end the show on. I think it's the perfect thing for, just generalized response to everything going on politically. We have two different videos here. I just sent it to you. The first one has a young lady, and then the second one has an old man. I would like you to start with the old lady, and I will preface this by saying that Mantis and I are not going to speak through these videos. Instead, we're going to allow the audience to understand the differences in these two opinions. And I would love, if there's anyone left in the chat, if you would share your thoughts on it, or maybe hit us up on rizradio.com or rizradio on Instagram or various other social media platforms, and you share your thoughts there. So hit it, Mantis.
Once again, sorry guys, this is vertical.
YouTube.
Be friends with someone who has different political views than you?
No.
I can't be friends with someone that has different political views. I think that's tied to morality, but I couldn't have dialogue with them to see, you know.
Exactly. I agree. Dialogue is important.
So I don't have to be friends with anyone that I don't want to be friends with, so I won't. Do you think you...
Okay. She said that. Now let's play the response to that video, which is directly underneath it. And then, I just want to get your takes on it. Also, my Fitbit watch, though made by liberals, I wear it.
Possible to remain friends with people while disagreeing with them vehemently, especially on black and white issues such as abortion. But I think you could probably plug in any number of issues into that question.
Strangely, I've never found it difficult to remain friends with people I deeply disagree with, because I am not as interested in their disagreement as I am in their hearts and what's coming out of them. I have many close friends whom I disagree with at a very deep level. But apparently this trait is not universally shared, because I have lost many friends and I've lost relatives, people very dear to me, simply by my opinions. And I think the answer is quite simple. It's the basic Christian idea that another person's inner life is as important to him as yours is to you, and both are equally important to God. And when you remember that, it's easy to let people disagree, as long as you're willing to speak the truth back at them, whether they like it or not.
How is it possible to remain friends with...
So, Mantis, two starkly different approaches to the political climate that we find ourselves in. What are your thoughts?
So, if you notice, I have to point this out, that clearly the age and education level are different between the two pairs of people, right? So in the first one, we have relatively, not even relatively young, let's say it, young people. Those guys, those two probably were 23 combined in age. And then we have later on two guys who we know who they are. They're both scholars, right? And so they are educated and a little, much older. And they have a more wiser take on it. Obviously Mantis is pro the second video as opposed to the first. And so the first one disgusts me, and I wish you guys had raised your children better. And then the second one, I'm into it. Even though, like, for instance, both of those guys, I have issues with certain things they believe, but in this particular video, I like what they're saying.
So for me personally, when I saw it, the first video is, let me just say this, you are under no compulsion to be friends with anyone. I agree with the young lady there. But to call into question morality based on political ideology is a far stretch, right? Does your morality impact how you vote? For sure. But I think that seeing what I've seen from the left, where there are entire ad campaigns on TikTok to separate from family based off of political beliefs, is insane, especially since I've seen so many liberals take out of context a portion of the Bible where Jesus says he comes to separate, right? You know, the famous quote.
Yeah.
And they're like, look, Jesus is here to tear up families. Actually, what that quote is talking about is that, yes, it probably will tear up families and it will separate, because it will separate you eternally, right? It will also separate you in this plane, because if you're a believer of Christ, every once in a while, you're going to come up against someone who vehemently hates that. And you are going to say things that will cause them to leave, or you're going to call them out on sin. I've been called out on sin. You've been called out on sin. The second video really highlights, like you said, the age and maturity, which is, I would hate to lose a relationship with a family member or even a friend. But I'm at an age and a place in my life where friends now can come and go based off of their political ideologies. I'm not the one that's going to separate from you. But I agree with what he says, man, because of what I believe spiritually. It does not make me see you as a political view. In fact, it just makes me see you as a human, right? It makes me see you as a possibly deeply flawed human, but someone I want to keep in my life, because I want to keep praying for you, man. I want to be that friend for you, and I want to be there for you. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a wild separation, man. It's a crazy distinction. I have yet to call a family member to their face satanic, right? And I don't think it is profitable or useful to do that. I will, however, say right to their face what you believe is satanic, but I still love you.
right. I mean, that's a shady one too. Like, be careful with that one, because you know what it is. 99% of people who fall for satanic stuff, they don't realize that they are. So they have fallen for the adversary's game, and his game is, I love it from that movie. What is it? With Kaiser Soze, The Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
Greatest line, because it's biblically true. The greatest lie the devil ever played was pretending he's not real.
Yeah,
Convincing him he's not real.
Yeah.
And so what it is that most people who are engaging in demonic behavior don't even realize it. And so a lot of people are worried that it's like metalheads sitting around worshiping Satan. It's never that.
Yeah.
It's you're being demonic, but in different ways.
Right.
And so like what it is, it's true. Jesus will say, he said, if you're coming to me, you must hate your mother and your father, because you're going to separate. You're going to separate. You're going to cause all these things. You have to be against the world. You know what I'm saying? If you love the world, then you can't be part of this. However, remember, he is the ultimate righteousness. So that's a fine separation. What it is secularists will try to equate things where they're like, well, you're trying to separate this person from blah, 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 so you're bad. And it's like, it's not equivalent.
Right.
Going to Jesus' side is not the equivalent of going to Satan's side.
No, absolutely.
And they're not equals on that point. And what it is that it's so sad, because I agree with you. We have a lot of family members and friends and loved ones who are satanic, because they're materialists, they're worldly, and they want to be part of this thing that's evil.
Let me boil it down here, man, and distinctly to the points that were being made in these videos, right, man? Because I inherently see you as a creation of God, I will not separate from you. I might create some distance in our day-to-day life with each other, but I'll always be a phone call away, right? I'll always be willing to come meet you where you're at, as long as it's not putting my family in danger. I find it interesting that on the other side of the table, this altruistic view of life, this high morality, has no room, has no space, no place for reconciliation. But it is not surprising to me, right? Because they have no view of God. Their only view is of this world and of this plane, and in what is happening right now. So it's a sad state, man. It's a sad state.
It's so sad. you know, I just don't even know what to say. Look at Matt Cat showing up
Hey,
last minute. Hail to the chat.
hail to the
Hail
chat.
Mantis. Hail
What up,
Steve.
DT?
Well, yo, hails Matt Cat. I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute, bro. How the world gets them is through their emotions. And yes, that is true. There's a lot of emotional existing, and that's another lie that the mainstream world tells us, particularly through psychology. And it's not just through psychology, but therapy, is that there's this running belief in the modern age where if you're emotionally sound, that's the highest point you can be to a secularist.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're like, well, my emotions are all together. So it's good that I've rejected my family. I've cut up all these things and I'm living for me now.
Yeah.
It's like the most absurd thing that's ever happened. And so what it is, but another thing is you all know you need to be living for Jesus. You need to, you know, work. Life is work, and it's work for God, not for you. And this selfish, this narcissistic idea that they're like, well, I'm sound because I've cut off all these people and I'm doing what makes me feel good.
Right.
How do you not see that that's not the correct way to live?
So here's the most ironic part about the person that says I'm living for self, right? There's no way if you're saying you're living for self that you're living to be in community. And whenever I see these people speak so highly of community, but yet espouse views where it's like, it's about my happiness, I'll watch your community crumble in on itself. Because if that's the foundational principle is out for Delph, then eventually it's never going to be a unifying message. It's always going to be, no, I got to do what makes me happy. And that's why no one buys into it. Or people are waking up.
But they do it first, but eventually it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable.
Exactly. Another episode of Fanboy Modeling School, big guy. We got
Matt Cat says, "Preach, Steve. Christ is King." That's right. Hell yeah,
Christ is King. Even that it can be turned into some type of hate mongering message. Apparently, it's like to espouse the belief that Jesus is King.
Yeah, DT says, for example, love is love. Yes, love is love is such a whoa. We could do a whole episode on love is love.
Yeah,
actually, you know what we should do an episode on? You know, we should have our like Christian after dark lessons. We should do one just on that lawn sign.
What's one?
You know, there's a lawn sign that's like, we believe no person is illegal. We believe that love is love. We believe that blah, blah. And they have all these, they espouse all these things that are all ultimately satanic.
Right.
And we need to dissect it. But that's not for standard fanboy modeling school. We need to have an after dark where we after dark, we either talk about raunchy things or we convict you in the name of Christ.
We haven't done we haven't done like an after dark. I think we're both like spiritually in a different place, man. Hopefully we, you know, as we continue to grow in our own, you know, walk, I think it's evident to a lot of people, man, like there's been a distance in fanboy like stuff. We slip up and we curse and you see an immediate like conviction on both sides.
I agree with you. We're becoming it's harder to pull these shenanigans off because we're starting to feel a way about it.
Right. But I will say this to all my Christian friends, to all my friends that have lost someone because of this. Did you really lose anything? I want you to think about that for a second. Did you really lose anything? If you live under constant pain of threat of someone separating because of your political or spiritual beliefs, hey man, my prayer goes that you be free of that. For real, for real.
So, you know, I actually broke up with the girl that I really, really cared about. But her reaction to every little issue was to break up with me. And I knew she'd be back tomorrow. It got to the point where I was like, she'll be back tomorrow.
Right.
And finally she broke up with me and I said, you know what? Let's do this. And she said, what? And I was like, I don't have the energy for this. You want to leave? Leave. Get out. I'm done with this crap. If you want to leave every 5 seconds, fuck that.
Right. Right. It's a weird place to be in, man, because when you do get to that place where it's like, what's happening now? All right. I'll pray for you. Peace be with you. Peace.
Yo, Bex is saying Christianity after dark is crazy.
yeah. Shout out Ruslan, man. Shout out Ruslan.
Oh, really like. Here's what it is. I like that dude, even though like, he's pure chaos. Because sometimes he's like so biblically on it, and then other times he's just talking about nonsense. And I was like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes he'll have a video about aliens, and then other times he's talking about deep spiritual concepts.
Right. So he's an extension of the fanboy modeling school.
Yes, exactly. Like I remember I tuned into one. He's like, he was like saying that he's like things the Hubble telescope is seeing from far distance could actually be angels, and like are the aliens and he's showing like, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I think secretly, not even secretly, I believe he has said this before. I give Ruslan this respect, man. He went on No Jumper, and that is a show that you would never expect to see any Christian on, and he actually held himself extremely well. Like he dealt with it extremely well. Like, I mean, they talked about everything under the sun: transgenderism, porn addiction, the whole thing. And
I need to watch an episode.
Yeah, at no point did Ruslan take a back step or anything. In fact, what he's really good at, and again, shout out to Ruslan, he's really good at conveying the Christian message. Why I think a lot of Christians have umbrage with him is during this whole time when there was this schism going on in Protestantism or just mainline Christianity about woke Christianity versus, what is biblical Christianity. A lot of people saw him as one of the woke Christians, and I never really saw him as woke. I just saw him as someone that had differing views on topics and saw evil in certain institutions, and he wasn't afraid to call that out. So I'll give him his respect on that. Definitely give him his respect on that.
Yo, Coy says, as an enthusiastic narcissist, this whole love concept seems really strange.
Exactly.
Mike Winger is good, by the way. I mean, yes, Mike Winger is the man, right? Yeah, he's a good teacher. He's a good he's like literally a YouTube teacher. He's not trying to impress anyone. He's just teaching.
Did you watch that sermon I sent you from Brian Loretz? This is no ordinary book.
I did.
What'd you think?
Amazing.
Yeah. Brian Loretz he's with the business, man. Like that part where he says, if you be the type of man that can't take criticism or needs your back rubbed every time someone disagrees with you, please don't darken the pulpit. This is a man's work. I was like, yo.
And that's well said, because that's a true statement, because there are people like that.
Yeah. I love that part where he's like, there will be some days in church, if you preach this book, your people will want to build a statue of you in front of the congregation. Preach this book continuously, there'll be days when they want to vote you out the church.
Yo, am I hearing what I think I'm hearing? Are we going to create a side Christian channel?
We absolutely are. Absolutely. I mean, it's heading in that direction. I find myself sometimes in mic check with some of the topics that I cover. You might hear me take long pauses when I'm like, I was just
so here's my take on it. Here's my take on it. I do think that Christians in general, like mainstream Christians, sometimes they are too G-rated, because remember, we are meant to live amongst the pagans and we're meant to live amongst the sinners. And so if here's what it is, we need to be what's the phrase? We need to be as clever as as wise as serpents, but as innocent as doves, right? And so if we continue to hide from the truth and reality and realness, we can't combat it.
No. Also, there's just a certain thing, man. I sent you an article once in regards to Christian media and the mediocrity of it. And I think that's something that I really enjoy about Ruslan, and also that young brother I put you on to. What do you mean? The slender black fool who just like is constantly critiquing cultural issues, and he does a great job at it. Sometimes you have to be in these spaces. You just can't be a part of them. And that's where Christian rappers like Lecrae caught a lot of criticism, because Lecrae kind of at one point seemed like he was forgetting what the assignment was. Yeah. So it's not a good look when Kendrick Lamar is not scared to profess his faith, but you are, So
Yo, do you like Alan Parr?
I like Alan Parr. Yeah.
Yeah. Alan Parr is good stuff.
I mean, I have my criticisms, obviously, but
I have my criticisms, all of them. Like, for instance, I love Mike Winger. Sometimes I think he's a little too heady.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he gets a little too. He's using big words. I'm like, I can't even follow you right now.
Right.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway.
That's why we like that amazing Jesse Lee Peterson so much. Oh, actually, I think I know who Coy is. You just gave it away. Welcome in, brother. Jesse Lee Peterson is a heretic and is going to burn in hell if he doesn't embrace the truth of the Bible. Now, there's a white nationalist apologist if I've ever seen one. Jesse Lee Peterson is going to hell and he's taking people with him, bro.
Do you know who Coy is?
I do. I think I do.
You gotta let me in. You gotta let me know after the stream.
That's amazing.
And then also, guys, remember, check out Wise Disciple. During my St. Patrick's Day stream, he was the one who I played the video about. He was teaching us about scoffers. That guy is great. His channel is called Wise Disciples. His name is Nathan something or other. But anyway, we could do this all night. Anyway, this has been a great episode. I think we killed it tonight.
Yeah, Beck says clean language. If I don't hear an F-bomb once in a while, I'm no longer fangirl.
No, I agree. We got to give them a little titillation,
Isn't pause enough, man? Aren't we teetering on the line of strong language by saying pause?
I'm just gonna say it. Like I feel like I just already said it. I'm gonna say it again, but a little more blatant. I think Christians in general are a little too wholesome, if you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, Paul did call for a group of people to be castrated, right? That was pretty strong language back then.
If you do not live amongst like the darkness and the wildness, how do you know how to combat it or how to deal with it, right? And so we go to a Bible study where like the guy who runs it doesn't listen to secular music.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of Christians like that, man.
And I don't think that's appropriate. I do not think that's appropriate. Well, maybe it's appropriate for them. That's what they need because secular music secular music brings them places. But
I got to make a confession in front of you, D, Berlin, and any other Christian that's here, man. And it is one of my biggest struggles as a Christian. It was a big struggle as a new Christian, and it remains a struggle, man. I do not enjoy in any way, in shape, or form the worship music in church. I grew up in a Black Baptist way, right? Tradition, right? And I'm used to a rhythmic, plentiful music at church. I cannot vibe with the emaciated young lady up there with the guitar singing about her love of Jesus, man.
That's not wild what you're saying. I never have fun musically at church. I'm never like, yeah, this is the jam right now. I sing along. That's a good question. Why do I sing? I don't know why I sing along. Just because.
Guilt.
But I do agree with you. I wouldn't say that's music I enjoy. That's why when I leave, I put on secular music.
Wait. I'm gonna show. Wait, man. Can I send you one last video, man? It's the perfect way to close out because if this dude was biblically sound, if I find out he is biblically sound and his church is this lit, bro, I'm going every time, man. I'm going every time. You talk to the people for a second while I bring up what is the most amazing thing ever.
Let's see what's going over in the chat. We've got D says we forgot we are called to be set apart. Absolutely, right? Clean language. If I don't hear F-bomb in a while, I'm no longer fangirling, says Bex. Just boo. Everyone is shocked at something. Yeah, just because two dudes giggle when they kiss don't mean they're gay, says Coy, of course. Coy be saying all sorts of stuff tonight. Church music be fire. Maybe at your church. Maybe tell me what church you go to, DD does. I need to check it out. Mine is bland as hell.
Yeah, the folk music at the churches I've attended, man, I'm just like, I'm dying on the inside when they start singing. I'm like, oh, please, someone help me. Someone help me.
Maybe it's because I go to, it's always fun, man. Maybe because I go to a Pentecostal church. So I'll tell you, my church used to do a Saturday evening thing called, I I think it was called Eve Song or whatever. But what they had a jazz band.
Oh, that sounds dope.
Yeah, and I used to love it. I used to love the whole thing, but eventually we couldn't financially support 2 services. So we kept it on Sunday, and so we lost our jazz band service, but I actually enjoyed it. So there is church music you can find that you love,
All right, I'll share it to save you the footwork of doing everything. Just bring my screen up there. This dude right here, man. This is the type of experience I'm trying to now. And again, a lot.
He
of
looks like he's an MMA fighter. We're about to see him brawl somebody,
bro. What? Oh, the mute. It's muted. No, it's muted. Oh, there it is. Obviously not the music, man, but like, let me find out he just preached a fire sermon that's biblically sound, and then
right.
No, he's
I'm into it, man. I would love to go to his church.
Oh man, let's get out of here, bro. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, no, seriously, especially since like this kind of stuff just reminds me that I go to a church filled with a bunch of heathens. But anyway, did you have fun tonight?
I did have fun, man. Fanboy Modeling School on RizRadio.com, live 365, man. The Mantis, the Steve. We're always here for you.
We're always here for you. You're gonna find Fanboy Modeling School segments throughout the weeknights through 6 through 10 p.m. on Riz Radio. You're gonna find me on Sundays. You're gonna find Steve both Thursday nights at 10 to 2 and Sunday nights. So we're all over the place. You can't get enough of us over on Riz Radio. We've also got a lot new segments and a lot new DJs there. It's evolving every minute of every day. And we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and there were 15 of you in here, and there are 10 of you in here now with 3 likes. Just do us a favor, man. On the way out, hit the like button, and we'll be back next week.
Like the hell of it. And next week, I promise that Mantis will do something wild next week.
You still got to
like I'll flash you or something. But anyway, I'm gonna get back to my Christianness. I'll see you guys. Much love. This is Fat Mantis signing off. Ciao for now. Peace. And of course, the end stream segment.